So this is my backyard garden. It's August 8th, 2020. It's hot. It's 100 degrees today, and it's been over 100 degrees for the last 2 weeks. It's going to be 100 degrees all this week. And I mean, when I say that, I mean it'll get up to 105. I think today in the sun, it's actually getting up to 110 in the sun today. So, over 100. And you can see that some of these plants are surviving without any care or any maintenance. This is my backyard garden, and some of these plants are also, I wanted a large patch of them for my butterfly or hummingbird garden, but I'm not able to put them in the front yard because of the deer. This is Turk's cap. This is the top plant for hummingbirds in the shade in Texas. You can see the flower kind of looks like a Turk's cap there. And I provide this no care. These are seeds from Houston. My grandmother had a different kind of Turk's cap. In Austin, the Turk's cap will get really tall. You see how this Turk's cap is getting tall like this? You see how even this one right here is getting really tall, right? But the one my grandmother has doesn't get thick at the bottom. And so though it will get tall, it just falls over. Some of these will be 8 feet long, and they'll just fall over. And so it turns into a mat of ground cover, as opposed to the one in Austin that will grow really upright. I don't know the difference, but it is different. And this is 17 plants I planted from seed, and this is their third year here, and they require no care, no maintenance, and they're beautiful. Hummingbirds love this stuff. You can see it's about to get in the sun. The sun goes this way, so it's about to get in the sun for about an hour. They can handle half-day sun, really, but they're more comfortable with an hour or two of sun. This path is something I just put in. I haven't put it in yet. I just put the stones down to measure it. See, I can fit my foot under there. I'm eventually going to have those level with the ground. It'll be a nice path, but I just put it down. I haven't quite put it in yet. In the middle here, we have a dwarf palmetto. I really do like the dwarf palmetto. I think what I'm going to do is divide these. There's 2 of them down there, and I think I'm going to let the Turk's cap have this area because this is eventually going to, you just won't see it. The Turk's cap will climb all over it. So I'm going to take this out, divide it, and put it over here. So I'll have 3 of them over here, right in that spot. And the Turk's cap looks great. I do love this. I love the look here. And it's kind of open. I mean, you can see to the ground, right? But it will outcompete every weed that tries. It is crazy. It's coming in, as you can see. So this is something else that is not deer resistant. This is big red sage right here. And the big red sage is a Salvia pensteminoides, I think. And they call it that because it looks like a penstemon. If you look at it, it looks like a penstemon. But it is not. It is a sage. Is salvia. I guess all salvias are sages or something like that. These are second-year plants. These were all cuttings, or some came up from seed just here, coming up in the garden. And these are second year. So this is a second-year plant here. You can see what it looks like in its 4th year. Ginormous. And you can see the redness. I mean, it's just a beautiful, beautiful red. What's very interesting about this plant is that unlike some plants that will attract one type of butterfly or some type of butterflies, like this Greg's mistflower. This Greg's mistflower will attract some butterflies, monarchs specifically. This is an attractant for all butterflies. So I want to make sure, because I am planting a hummingbird in a butterfly garden, I want to make sure that I have a lot of this here. That applies to all hummingbirds because we don't discriminate here at the Husky household. Back over here, we've got, in case you're wondering what these black stones are, my grandfather bought these back from World War II. He was in Hawaii in the Navy for a little bit. And these are, that's lava. So I always thought those were cool. If I ever leave this house, I'm taking these with me because I think they're really cool. This is a dwarf palmetto, Sabal minor. The dwarf palmetto likes a lot of shade, which is the reason I have something climbing on it there. I wanted something on that side to provide shade. The problem with this is, you see this climber, man, what a beautiful flower. Look how it cascades. This is a sky flower or Duranta. Very nice cascading flower there. The problem is, this is it. I mean, it's only going to do this for a month. In Houston, this will happen for about 4 months. Oh, fantastic. We have a barking dog. Hey, Jasmine. Yeah, whatever. This will happen for about 4 months in Houston. So I'm going to take this guy to Houston. He just doesn't like it here as much. These are hydroponic boxes right here. This is my vegetable garden. You can see the irrigation right here. The irrigation actually, I irrigate, no, I don't irrigate that anymore. I did the first year. I irrigate these because they're right here next to my vegetable garden. So I just throw lines out there and irrigate, but I also irrigate this. I think what I'm going to do when I pull that out is I'm going to extend the Texas Star Hibiscus. That's what this is, Texas Star Hibiscus. And you can see it has very interesting leaves. Also resemble other plants. And the Texas Star Hibiscus will put out flowers. Unfortunately, there's not one out right now. It'll put out flowers that are as big as my hand. Not even kidding it. You see how many. There's one. There's a couple up there. Oh, there's a whole bunch about to pop out right there. These will pop out when it's wet. So I irrigate this every other day. I bet you it's scheduled to go off tomorrow. Or maybe tonight, rather. And I bet they'll pop tomorrow. And I also have them as scaffolding for my tomatoes. You can see the tomatoes grow back through there. So I can get additional branches of tomatoes in through there. So I don't have to use all cages. So what I'll do is I'll put the main branches of tomatoes in the cages here. And I have tomatoes here. And then I'll take the side branches and just let them run up the scaffolding of the Texas Star Hibiscus because it's so open. This one's empty right now. There was a cucumber in there, and you can see the remnants of the cucumber right there. He was coming up this cage too. This is going to be a fall crop. You can see we've got several blooms coming up in the fall crop. These are Cherokee purples. That's the ones that my kids love are Cherokee purples and cherry tomatoes. So that's all we grow here. This this guy's a monster. This is one sweet potato. One. It's a monster. It's going up here. It's over there in the big red sage. It's going to be great compost later. It's actually, they're about ready to come up. I planted it right here because this is where the drip irrigation, the earth box drains. So it's always moist. Like it's moist right here right now, just as moist as this would be, right? So I can plant something next to it, not necessarily in it, but next to it so that it has access to water if it needs it. And this was an experiment to see how big this got. I was going to do one here, one here, one here, one here. Not so much. I would not have had any room in my backyard. So I think I might put one more in here, but one more is probably good. This thing's a monster. There was another cucumber in here we just got rid of because it's August. And it wasn't producing anymore. And it's just taken over. More tomatoes here. Cherokee purple. And big red sage. We've definitely covered the asters, the Greg's mist flower. This, however, is one of my favorites. Sweet almond verbena. The sweet almond verbena in bloom is amaze. It smells amazing. I'm going to try and get a shot. See if you can see the bugs against the background. It looks like an aerial showcase over here right now. There's not, you've seen the yard. There's not bugs buzzing anywhere else. There are bees, all kinds of bees, honeybees, bumblebees, solitary bees, all over this. There's got to be 50 or 60 right now. There were a lot more earlier this morning. And this is the vegetable garden in the back. So I did want to extend the vegetable garden. So I got some larger pots. You can see that there. Larger pot. Larger pot. This is a larger pot. It's actually bigger at the mouth and not as deep though. But it works okay. It's definitely large enough to support veggies. And another pretty large pot there. This one is mint It's a decently large pot, but right now the purple hull peas are destroying it. So the veggie garden, I like to have a pollinator in my garden. This is the tropical sage. The tropical sage will seed itself, and it comes up really easy. And when I pull it up, it doesn't seem to have a huge root base. Not like this silver pony's foot. This dollar weed, or silver dollar weed, or silver pony's foot as it's marketed, this stuff here, I am growing it for ground cover, has a tremendous root base, and it tends to block out all other stuff. I did have corn growing here, but the corn smashed over. Beans are still growing, so I'm definitely still growing the beans. This is stevia. It's quite big now, and usually if I put it in a smoothie and I use it for sweetener, I'll use an entire branch like this. When I use an entire branch, there's only so much that you can take when you take that much, right? So I take it easy. I only use it every week or so. Here's some basil coming up here. I'll put the top off there. Thank you very much. Boom. So got some basil coming out, and that's in the same pot as the silver pony's foot is used as the ground cover there. I do like using pine mulch. You can see the pine mulch there. It just permeates better and breathes better, and I find a lot less problems. There's also basil in this pot right here, so I have basil in both those pots. And then there's also a poblano, so you can see this big guy moving here. It's a poblano, and he's got, does he have any? Oh yeah, he's got some on him still here, some young ones. And he'll put out in the fall too, but usually when it gets this hot, they stop putting out. Here's another stevia right here. Boom. It's big, man. That stevia it's got to be 3 feet tall, at least. Every bit of, getting close to 4 feet tall. It's taller than the pepper. It's definitely reaching for light, but that's fine. It's just a cool addition. That stevia was a volunteer. This is another poblano pepper, and this one is getting more sun than the one behind it by about an hour, and oh my gosh, look at the production difference. Here's my borage right there. I was told that borage would keep away hornworms. Well, this year I found just as many hornworms as I normally do, so that didn't work, but I'm going to give it one more year. Maybe it has to be here for a full year. Maybe it has to develop or whatever. Maybe it attracts a certain insect, and the smell from that insect deters the tomato hornworm moth, or you know what I mean? Who knows? There's always could be. So I'm going to give it one more year, and I think that's the tour of the backyard garden. I don't think I have anything else back here. Oh yeah, I do. Amaryllis. The amaryllis right here gets buried, which is actually good because it can't take full sun. However, because of how my house is and the sun line goes, this part of the ground isn't in full sun during the fall. So it gets mostly full sun, and it loves it a lot better. Right here it would get about 7 hours or 6 hours of direct sun, which is way too much for the amaryllis. And so in covering it like this, one amaryllis has turned into 5 or 6 down there I've got now in a few years. They double and double and double and double, and yeah, so amaryllis down there. Backyard garden's looking pretty good. It's almost done.